This is an Eye on Annapolis bonus podcast.
Well, I guess the socks have been burned. And while we wait for the summer concert series, we felt the need to talk about catfishing with the Annapolis Maritime Museum and Park. And we're joined today by Alice Estrada, who's the CEO and the president, as well as Jay Fleming, a renowned photographer of all things the Bay, and also a board member here at the Annapolis Maritime Museum and Park. And I understand there is a new event called the Chesapeake Catfish Cookoff coming up, man. This is kind of exciting. The date is, you want to put it on your calendar right now, is Saturday, May 3rd. From noon to 4. And that seems to be a sweet spot for you guys in your time, noon to 4.
Yes.
That seems. And it's going to be held at the Park campus, which is off of Edgewood Road, maybe called Bemby Beach at that point. But tell me about this event. Where did this idea come from?
Well, I think it was a collaboration really between Jay and myself as we were really wanting to showcase, highlight the invasive species of the Bay. And just for your listeners' sake, the mission of the Annapolis Maritime Museum is to educate folks about Annapolis's rich maritime heritage, but also the ecology of the Chesapeake Bay.
Well, we wouldn't have a heritage if we didn't have the Bay, so we got to make sure the Bay is healthy.
That's right. That's right. And actually, Jay's work epitomizes that mission as well. So Jay did a talk this winter on the invasive catfish, and we had really thought we were going to let this manifest into an event, a culinary event, because catfish has a poor rap, so to speak, and it's actually a delicious fish. So we are good at throwing parties. So and Jay attracted some fantastic chefs to participate. We'll have live music, but also some education and edutainment, as I would say.
Well, I guess my question then is, you've said that the catfish are an invasive species. What's so bad about them?
Well, the blue catfish was introduced into the Bay in the 1970s by the Virginia Department of Fish and Game into rivers like in the Southern Bay, Virginia's portion, James River, York River, Rappahannock, Potomac. And I think at the time they wanted to introduce them as like a sport fish so that, there was an opportunity for anglers. They didn't really consider the ecological consequences that were going to happen. And in 50 years, so the introduction was in 1974. In 50 years, these catfish have spread throughout the Bay. They're up here in the upper Chesapeake Bay. I'm catching them off Annapolis, which I've never done that in my life before.
Things that happened in the 70s, nobody had any mind for anything that may have any kind of ecological consequences.
Exactly. One river in particular, the James River, where I think the first introductions were made, blue catfish take up 80% of the biomass. So,
well, I think DNR last year had a multi-month catfish program to catch them and let us know when there was some contest or something that went on.
The DNR is actively trying to promote the fishery, both recreational and commercial, so that we can remove as many of these fish out of the water, because what these catfish are doing, they get to huge sizes. Like the world record was caught in Virginia, 130 pounds. Like that's the size of some adults. And that's a big fish. And they don't get that big by being picky about what they eat. That's the thing. These catfish are eating crabs, they're eating baby rockfish, they're eating perch, they're eating river herring, which are an endangered species. These catfish are eating up the Chesapeake Bay. And I'm afraid that the upper Chesapeake Bay, which is the most important spawning ground for striped bass on the whole East Coast, and it's an incredibly important nursery ground for all kinds of fish, I'm afraid that's going to turn into the James River.
Striped bass, that's rockfish, right?
Rockfish, okay. Correct. Yeah,
depending on where you go.
Striped bass is what you call them. That's a technical term for them. The official name, rockfish, rock, stripers, those are all the local terms for them.
Gotcha. Well, I don't know that you can count, but is an event like this or what the DNR did, how much of a dent is that going to make?
Well, you got to promote it, and it's better than doing nothing. You could just let them exist, and, we're probably not going to ever eradicate the catfish or beat the catfish, but we can raise awareness for what's in the Bay. It's an incredible educational tool. I know the museum's going to have Zach involved with promoting blue catfish and getting kids out on the water. And it's the future of the Chesapeake Bay.
Well, if nothing else, coming through this event, again, this is going to be on May 3rd, is that the awareness.
Yeah.
And to be able to sit there and say, okay, when we're out here, let's get these catfish out of the bay. Now, Alice, you had mentioned that this is obviously a foodie event for the most part.
And actually, yes, even the Maryland Department of Agriculture has worked with us for years and often have done sampling of catfish at various concerts and events and even
Holiday
at your
party.
lectures at holiday party. So what we're trying to do is, and these chefs are right behind us, is showcase that catfish is good.
Let me ask you. I'm not a fish guy. I live in the wrong state. If it lives in, on, near, or under the water, I won't eat it. I know, wrong state. Tell me about it. But what does catfish taste like? I mean, is this a strong gefilte fishy kind of fish, or is it a more mild?
The catfish is a very mild fish. It's got a white meat, very mild. If you prepare it properly, you have to cut the bloodline out of the fillet, which is where the fishy flavor resides. But it's a very mild fish. Kind of takes on the flavor of what you're cooking it with.
Okay.
Which is why the chefs love it, because they can really go so many different directions with it and really create some creative.
And the thing about catfish, too, is if we get more people to try it, and we're going to try to, debunk the myth that catfish is a muddy bottom feeder, I think that comes from the farm-raised catfish, which people are typically eating. There's a huge catfish industry in the South, Alabama, Louisiana, and it's a huge industry. I mean, all the fish are raised to be the exact same size, then they harvest them. So it's very uniform product. These are wild caught catfish. These taste completely different. They're not eating food pellets. They're eating menhaden. They're eating crabs. They're eating perch. They're eating good stuff. So they take on the flavor of the water they're living in and what they eat. So these catfish are totally different than a farm-raised catfish.
And then the chefs step in and they can do their magic.
It's a great product for a chef. Catfish are relatively low cost. It's also extremely sustainable. I mean, it takes sustainability to the next level. By eating them, you're helping restore the bay. You're not taking away. You're not eating a species that's in decline.
Sure.
So it's a perfect product that's got a great story. And we're hoping that by inviting these top-of-the-line chefs, we've got a chef, Jeremiah Langhorne, who won a James Beard Award. He has a Michelin star restaurant in D.C. We've got Kyle Bailey from the Salt Line. They've got 3 incredibly successful restaurants, seafood restaurants.
I was looking at the event. You can check out all the information on the event at amaritime.org and then go to events and then the Catfish Cookoff. I was looking at, you've got some great restaurants that are coming here. Locally, we've got Jimmy's Famous Seafood. You've got Leo here in town. You've got Sea Salt. You've got the Boatyard Bar and Grill. You've got the Salt Line Oyster and Ale.
Preserve. They just came on board.
Okay.
I mean, Preserve's they've been serving blue catfish for forever. So these are all restaurants that already serve blue cats. They know the value of it. They see the value of it, but catfish are a hard sell. A lot of people in Annapolis, they see catfish versus rockfish on the menu. They're going to order rockfish over catfish, but we're here to show people that there are good ways to prepare it. It's a good product, and it's also an incredible story, and it's a way to help the bay by choosing with your fork, so to speak.
And I do also want to mention Chef John Shields is coming in. He is an acclaimed author, very well known within the state, and also a PBS TV host. And he'll be doing cooking demonstrations with the catfish.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the event. Okay, it is a ticketed event. Okay, you get your tickets at amaritime.org. But it does include samples from, I would say, all 7 restaurants. But now you said the preserves come in. It's 8, maybe 9.
I think we have 8, and we'll have sides as well. We're going to have delicious sides that we'll serve up: cornbread and coleslaw, mac and cheese.
Southern style.
Yeah, it's Southern style.
Now, so each chef that's coming in, or each restaurant that's coming in, is going to prepare it a little bit differently. Is that the deal?
Exactly.
You give them the fish. You give them the fish and say, give me something to eat.
They come up with their recipe, and they're all competing for the best. I call it, they're competing to be cat daddy or cat king.
We like that. We should have put that on our award.
We need to make a crown, cat daddy. Yeah, so we're going to have 2 judges. I'm going to be one of the judges, and I've eaten some catfish in my day. And then we're going to have Kevin Addix, who is the secretary of the Department of Agriculture. He's going to be the other judge. And, the Department of Ag, Maryland's Best, they're all very on board with promoting the catfish. I mean, the whole seafood marketing department under the Department of Ag, they're helping us sponsor John Shields and his portion of the event. So they're sponsoring the cooking demo, and they're a great partner that we've had here.
You talked about the cooking demos. I mean, I looked on the website. I mean, they're talking about, I'll make up a word. They said lecturettes, small lectures.
Yeah.
No, you put ETTE on the end of a word and it makes it smaller. Go figure. But it's a full day of food, fun, education. You've got some music.
We've got some music.
I understand. Now, this is a dry event, right? Like everything at the Maritime Museum, wink, wink.
No, actually, we're having a signature cocktail. The Sea Salt restaurant has said, let us do a signature cocktail, but they haven't told us what it is yet.
Oh, fun.
We'll probably serve up some mint juleps because it is Derby Day.
Oh.
And and then, of course, like beer, wine, and other cocktails.
Sounds like a really fun day.
Yeah.
And I'm really
really
ticked
is.
off. I've got to be at my daughter's wedding, so I'm not going to be here.
Just wanted to mention, too, we're going to have shucked oysters.
Oh, raw oysters.
Raw oysters and a waterman present to
we've
talk about his fishing
Catfishing.
endeavors. Yes.
Yeah. So this friend of mine, he's a full-time catfisherman. His name's Mike, but everybody calls him Catfish Mike because he is one of the few watermen on the Eastern Shore that
He probably has a really horrible dating thing.
don't get catfish. Well, he's married, so I don't think he's in the dating game. But Mike he's a full-time catfisherman. So there are very few watermen who have actually made a living full-time at it on the Chesapeake Bay. A lot of people do it when they're abundant, like right now. I'm a very mild part-timer. I don't go that much. But Mike has been catfishing for 30 years on the Chesapeake Bay, and he's seen the changes in, the amount of blue catfish, and he has a wealth of knowledge about catfish, and he's going to bring one of his hoop nets that he uses, and it's a pretty big net. We're going to have that on display. People can ask Mike questions. His son's going to be with him. His son's like a 25-year-old waterman, so that's cool to see young people working. I'm going to make a little video that we're just going to have on a TV playing of him fishing, so that kind of can help him explain the gear. Yeah,
that's awesome. Because I mean, I don't know anything about how you fish for catfish. I mean,
you never know. You want to come out catfishing with me on the boat. You could be a helper.
I might take you up on that. Don't offer things that
don't say it if you don't mean it.
I'll take anybody out.
Jay, you mentioned the judges. You and Kevin Addicks were going to be the judges. What is, I guess the two questions I have is, what is the criteria and how much does it cost to win for bribes?
I'm not taking bribes.
You're not taking bribes?
I'm friends with all the chefs.
but I mean, what's the criteria going to be?
I would say like creativity, flavor, use of the fish. Like, is it a good use of the fish? Like, there are very traditional ways that people eat catfish, like fried catfish. That's how everybody eats it. It's catfish nuggets or blackened catfish, like fish and grits. Those are all like the traditional ways to cook catfish. But, I think what we're going to be looking for are kind of unique and creative ways that the chefs use the fish.
Do you have any predictions on the winner?
I only know what one of them's making. He's making General TSO's catfish. So it's like a fried catfish with the Asian sauce on it, which should be very good. So I don't know. I should probably not know what anybody's making because I don't want to
Do you have any predictions on who might be the winner, Alice?
I don't know, but there's some pretty acclaimed chefs here. So I think it's a toss-up.
You know what I love is we brought a lot of local restaurants in. And if we had been having this conversation 20 years ago, we would be struggling to find good restaurants in Annapolis. And I mean, we were a very, very mediocre restaurant. My judges, I mean, you got the Michelin stars and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
My judge for a good restaurant is it good enough to make me drive from Annapolis into DC, Baltimore, Northern Virginia, eat and leave? And there are plenty in those markets. But 20 years ago, it wasn't here. I mean, there's nobody from D.C. or Baltimore or Northern Virginia that was driving into Annapolis just to eat and leave. They may come to see some show at the Ram's Head or walk down the dock or take with a Wilma Lee or something like that in addition to it. But we've really upped our game. I mean, you've got Sea Salt and Leo, and I mean, it's
Leo, the owners are from D.C. and they moved here during the pandemic.
Well, they had a D.C. restaurant too.
I think they still own a bar in D.C.
Yeah,
I'm eating there tonight.
Yeah.
I'm taking them catfish and they're cooking it for me.
There you go.
Chef Matt at Leo's is a great guy, great supporter. He's going fishing with me tomorrow. We're taking Maryland Public Television Farm and Harvest out, so they're going to do a segment on the catfishing that I do.
Fantastic.
Getting the chefs out on the water, getting them involved, and it's great marketing for the event too. So we can share Matt's vision, share pictures of him on the boat. So
that probably also makes their product the fish at the end a lot
more meaningful.
It does. I mean, they know where it came from, what it did. I mean, I think
it also helps them sell the product. Like if the chef can hype it up and tell the story of it, and educate his customers, and if they see another fish on there that's like not as sustainable as catfish, if it's a educated consumer, they're going to make the right choice. Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of cool stuff we can do because we're creative and we love the Bay and we want to, help the local community out. So this is the first event of its kind in the region. I'm sure there's catfish cook-offs down south, but here, this is the first of its kind, and it's an exciting opportunity to educate people. And I hope this thing becomes an annual event that's just on autopilot for us. Yeah. That would be awesome.
Yeah. But it has been pioneering because we have had the resistance, as Jay outlined, to the catfish itself being a delicious fish. There's skepticism there, but we aim to disprove that.
And it takes a long time to, get things changed and to change the perception of the consumers. I mean, it takes a lot of time to develop these markets. Maybe someday in the Chesapeake Bay, catfish the value of them will rise and it'll be more, lucrative for people to target them full time, which will then result in helping the Bay.
Yep. Yeah, this is at the Park campus. And for those that aren't aware, I mean, the Annapolis Maritime Museum, which is what it used to be called, is right here at the foot of 2nd Street in Back Creek. A couple of years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, you acquired or took over from the city the Eleanor Moyer Park and I think it was a water building or something.
Yeah, a waterworks building, an old pump station that was defunct.
And you have developed just the most amazing park over there. You built the Merrill Pavilion, which is overlooking Back Creek in a little cove. It probably has a name for a cove. I don't remember it. I was just actually walking through there this morning, and I do encourage everybody to go there. It's great for summer camps, events, photography. If you want to see some nature, I mean, there's a great osprey stand right off the overlook that they've got up there. The pavilion, so if you've got an event, if you're getting married there, you can launch your kayak or your stand-up. It's just a hidden, true gem in Annapolis, and I recommend everybody get down there to check it out. You don't need to be there when they're open. I mean, you can just walk the trails, you do it. But you guys, as the Maritime Museum and Park, as you're known now, have just been really a great neighbor to the city and to the area and to the community, because the events that you do host have really become part of the signature of the Annapolis community. I mean, you look at the Winter Lecture Series, the Oyster Roast and Sock Burning, the Chesapeake Catfish Cookoff, the Summer Concert Series, the September Sunset Concert Series, Boatyard Beach Bash, and I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple of other ones, but these are events when you just throw these names out, they're like, oh yeah, I love that. And people look forward to doing it year after year after year. So to your point, Jay, the Catfish Cookoff needs to happen year after year after year. And I think it will. I think you guys are well on the way.
Thank you. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think this is great that you've got these different chefs that are coming in that are just renowned for what they're doing, to be able to really highlight what can be done with it. I do want to talk a little bit, Alice. I mean, you guys are growing pretty good. I mean, as we talked about, you acquired the park. I mean, I know that you are part owners of a lighthouse somewhere out in the Bay.
We're a partner in that, yes.
Which is, and I will say that if anybody can get tickets through the U.S. Lighthouse Society and go out to see the Thomas Point Shoal Lighthouse, it's a fantastic trip. It's not a cheap tour.
Yeah, but it's a good experience.
If you're into the Bay and into, Maryland culture and stuff like that, it's really a super, super worth it. Spend 3 hours out there, crawl all over it. Listen to John and everybody tell the story of what it is. But you've recently acquired the Weems and Plath building, which is sort of around the corner. And at some point, you're going to be, expanding over into there, whether you move the offices in and expand in the original place, the old McNasby's building or whatever. So that's exciting to see the museum continue to grow. And I know that you couldn't have done it without the support of the community. For those that are not familiar, shame on you. That's the first thing. You want to go to amaritime.org and check out the website, see all that they have. The second thing you want to do is go to the museum. And I mean, you went through a huge, I don't say renovation, was it a re-envisioning?
Yeah, we did brand new exhibits. They're about 4 years old now, believe it or not. But
and been through 3 floods.
Yes. They were designed to accommodate, they're on wheels so we can move them for the most part.
Well, I remember that was back when Isabel came around, and it was you learned.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's happened a couple times since then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I remember the big
I-
October, and was there a January one or something?
It was October 2019. That was a big one.
Yeah.
And then we had a big one. We had another big one in August 2024. And ironically, a lot of my pictures that I have of, tidal flooding in the Chesapeake Bay were in the museum during those floods. And we had to take them out. It made for some pretty interesting pictures of the flooded pictures in the flooded museum.
Yeah. It was.
The one picture that you have, Jay, that just really speaks to me is the final moments of which island saying?
Holland Island.
Okay.
The last house on Holland Island.
Yeah. And
as it kind of, the picture was taken at a really low angle to the water, and it was very calm water. So it looks like the house is kind of melting into the water. But that was one of the last pictures ever taken of that house. And
it's just absolutely, it really speaks to me. And the problems that we have with the Bay with sea level rise and just everything else. It's
and that's hanging at the museum along with a lot of others.
And that did prompt the purchase of Willemsenplaat for that reason, higher ground.
For storage of valuable, artifacts that the museum has and different pieces of history that we're trying to keep alive.
Makes sense. No, we need to keep history alive. You guys, Alice, just being the CEO and the president, and Jay being a board member, I'm curious, what do each of you think, something about the museum and park, in your opinion, that most people would be surprised to know? We all know about the parties.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't know about the 12,000 students we educate each year.
How many?
12,000 and growing, and through a variety of programs. 40% of them are from underserved populations, and they and the robust summer camp we do. They may not know that the Box of Rain program is under the umbrella of the museum, and that's a program that an organization we acquired in 2018, and we really do year-round programming with some kids that live primarily in public housing, and they get to experience a variety of maritime activities, from boat building and in fact, they're having their first sleepover in Horn Point tonight.
Oh, cool.
So they're off on spring break. So we took them all over to Horn Point to do a sleepover.
You said 12,000.
Well, we see 12,000 kids annually. Yes.
That's a lot of people.
It's kind of a staggering amount of people. Yeah. We're just right now in the throes of our oyster education partnership program with the county school system, and they've all been out on that skipjack. Wilma Lee.
Now, Wilma Lee is amazing.
She's our floating classroom, but she's a good time too,
She's amazing. I've been out on her several times, and never a bad time. And Captain Rick is amazing, and it's awesome. What do you think people would be surprised to know about?
Well, I was going to say the education element. The stuff that the museum does on the water with kids and out and outdoors in the natural environment. All about the Chesapeake Bay. That's great stuff.
And the preservation of our maritime heritage. So we do conduct oral histories, and we have a collection over 3,000 artifacts, but also photographs and different collections that we're growing and cataloging and preserving in perpetuity. So that's, if it's not us, who?
And it's something that needs to be preserved because we've lost so much. That we have over the years.
And I think too, the volunteers, that we have so many volunteers that help us on a regular basis, and people want to volunteer here because it's fun. Like, people want to help with events, and people want to help they want to be docents. They want to help on the skipjack. People want to help because this place is not only just a museum, it's a community.
Yeah, it really is. And they are heartfelt, dedicated volunteers that actually transcribe oral histories in,
That's exciting. That sounds like fun work, right?
Oh, yeah. It's like, not for me.
How are ticket sales going? And again, the date on this one is May 3rd.
Yes.
And at amaritime.org, and you can navigate to events in the Chesapeake Catfish Cookoff. But how are the ticket sales going?
Well, we sort of just unleashed our marketing, so they're a little slow to start, but we're getting lots of interest, and we're excited.
We're not worried.
We're not
but
worried.
It will sell out. So if you don't get a ticket soon, you're not going to be able to get one.
Yeah, because we're not selling a lot.
Yeah, well,
it's a finite amount. We want to keep the event intimate, and so and manageable.
But
it's a quality food experience.
Like we said too, the Catfish is relatively new, so it's starting an event and doing an event for the first time ever is going to be challenging. But I mean, we know that it'll sell out, but it's just a matter of how hard we have to work to sell it.
Everything you guys do, though, is so easy. I mean, if somebody has experienced something here for the first time, they're going back to their neighborhood and going, oh my God, I was just at this oyster roast and stuff. What a freaky kind of a funky thing this is. But my gosh, that was great.
Yeah.
And, they come back. It was like, wait a minute. Did you know that just for a donation of they suggest $10, but you don't have to do it. They do concerts, every week. You hit it out of the park time and time again.
Well, thank you.
I did just look at it actually, because I know that we did an article on the cook-off and stuff like that. And I know that we've sent 124 people to the page. So
okay,
hopefully, I don't know
for that.
whether they bought or not. That's up to you to figure that out. So
I
think there is a great interest in this.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be
and we still have a couple weeks, so there's still time. So we have a lot of great publicity that we're generating through our friends and partners, and we are pretty confident that we're going to sell what we need to make the event happen.
Absolutely. And I will get them early because they will sell out. And, I will say that, again, you want to go to amaritime.org. That's where you want to go to get your tickets. But while you're there, you want to explore all they have to offer online and make that plan to come visit here. Because if you've never been, it is a gem of Annapolis, a wonderful place to visit. You can stop at Leeward Cafe on your way back up, or Davis is around the corner. You can certainly look at Wild Country Seafood if you want some of the freshest stuff that you've got right around the corner.
They sell my catfish.
There you go.
Yeah. Wild Country Seafood. We love them.
But Alice and Jay, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for bringing this cool new event to the city. And I'm looking, because I'm going to be out of town, but I think everybody should be looking forward to the 3rd of May and from noon to 4 over at the park campus of the Annapolis Maritime Museum and Park.
Thank you, John. And I do want to say thank you for all the kind words about the Annapolis Maritime Museum. And I have to mention, we are celebrating our 25th anniversary this year.
You don't look a day over 30.
Thank you.
25th?
25th, which is unusual for nonprofits. I think it's 12% survive past, to 25. So, yeah.
Really?
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you been here?
I've been here 12 years.
Okay.
So half its life.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Just
awesome.
about half its life.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Congratulations to you and everybody that makes this run. And
congratulations to Annapolis.
Yeah.
True. We supported it, brought it in, and the docents and everybody else that volunteers. But get out there, get your tickets May 3rd over at the park campus, amaritime.org.
Excellent. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
This has been a bonus podcast from Eye on Annapolis. Please visit us at eyeonannapolis.net. Follow us on Facebook at All Annapolis and on Twitter at Eye on Annapolis. And if you haven't subscribed to the Daily News Brief podcast, go for it. And all of your local news will be delivered to your phone, tablet, or smart device by 6 a.m. every Monday through Friday.